Hey guys, welcome back to the Zilinski life.
It's another First Budget Friday!
What are we doing, babe?
We're doing a how to save and what to save for.
Excellent, because I've really struggled with that.
Me too. I think we all have.
Everybody does, because it doesn't seem like something you can do. You look at the way you're living your life now and you think like I can't possibly put any money anywhere else other than where I am. Mm-hmm. Which is the purpose of the budget and why we want to talk about how specifically to save and then what kind of things you might want to save for, as well as why.
Now, just to start right off the bat, like let's say you don't have like a detailed budget like we do. You're not into like the sinking funds or anything like that, which is fine.
It's your first budget, basically.
Do a savings challenge, like just to get you excited about the idea of saving and get that habit going.
And I mean, you can just Google savings challenges. They're all out there.
There's a ton.
There's a bunch of them. We recently tried the envelope challenge.
100 envelope challenge.
Yeah, the 100 envelope challenge. It turns out that wasn't one that we could particularly do because we were already saving a bunch.
But we did it for more than half the year, and we saved a lot of money.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to save our butt now because Cody just got laid off, so that's a good thing we saved that money. And if you want to try it for yourself, you can find a link to the 100 envelope challenge sheet that we've been using in the Etsy shop down below.
Yeah, that's the thing about savings. If you're, if things go sideways, you may regret missing out on doing something because you saved that money instead. You're never going to regret a situation where you're just like, oh, here's a bunch of money I have nothing to do with.
One easy one that you can do that a lot of people like to start out with is the 52-week challenge, and it's just every week you save, week 1 $1, week 2 $2, week 3 $3, and then by week 50 it's $50 that week, and then 51 and then 52 right up till the end of the year. I can't remember exactly how much you wind up saving. I think it's over $1,000.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000. It's
a good chunk of money, but it's a much more reasonable amount to save every week.
Yeah, it's an excellent starting point, especially starting so low in the beginning of the year. There's a ton of things you can do in the course of 7 days to find $1.
Yeah. Even $50,
yeah, even $50 isn't insurmountable.
You could sell some clothes you don't wear anymore. There's a lot of ways. And another one that we're big fans of is the idea of paying yourself first.
Yes.
And that's just taking a percentage of whatever you make, usually it's 10%, and putting that into an account. Pay yourself first, just like you pay the government first with your taxes. If you're employed, they take that money off your check, you don't even see it. You should do the same thing with yourself. Pay yourself first.
Yeah, so if you watch our budget with us videos, that's literally what we do. With every paycheck we get, we take, it was 15% there for a while, but I'm laid off now, so we're not putting money into savings just yet. First thing we do with our money is take 15%, put it into savings, and then we take 10% and divide it between the two of us for spending money.
Yeah.
And that's been very helpful with keeping us on track in other areas, just because we don't feel so constrained.
And if that still feels like too much, just $10 a paycheck. Just something to start building that habit.
The perfect plan never used doesn't work. Anything is better than nothing.
Now you might be saying, guys, I literally have no money to save. I have no money to save. Then maybe you need to look at cutting back expenses.
Yeah, there's 2 general ways you can do it if there's not enough money is try to keep more of it from going to places you don't want it to and try to bring more in.
Yeah.
Ideally, you can do both, and then you're really sitting good.
Yeah, I feel like the easiest, most immediate way is to start looking at cutting back your dining out, unnecessary subscriptions, gym memberships that you're not using. Money has a way of just kind of trickling its way out if you're not paying attention.
Money talks. And unless you're telling it specifically where to go and what to do, it kind of just says, bye.
And then obviously the other way is to increase your income. So, drive for Uber Eats or
Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes,
DoorDash.
Uber itself, DoorDash. There's
go deliver pizzas.
Bunch of things that you can do to bring in something extra.
Babysit.
Yeah.
If you have a skill, maybe you love doing photography, you can start offering photography classes online, or you can offer to do easy photo shoots for people around your city or your town and get paid for that. There's an abundance of ways, and you just kind of got to think outside of the box.
And some of it can actually be pretty fun too, because while there may be some pressure on you, because like I need extra money, like it's not your job. Like, what are they going to do? Fire you? There's no downside. You can kind of just play with it and have fun, and who knows, maybe discover new passion, which is great. See.
So the next thing is, what things do you want to save for?
Yeah, I'm the one with glasses and I can barely read.
Yeah.
Gods love them.
So things that you might want to save for. What are things that you want to save for, babe?
Oh goodness, birthdays, Christmases, potentially, upcoming weddings. Goodness, vehicle maintenance.
Medical and dental expenses is a big one.
I mean, we have a vehicle maintenance sinking fund. And if we didn't have money in there, we kind of would have been just hooped this week when it turns out we haven't been using the right oil in our car, and the right oil is like 3 times as expensive as what we expected.
And then we also needed a engine flush.
Yeah, because of the oil thing.
Anyway, so that was an expensive day.
Yeah, that was an expensive day. We would have been in a lot of trouble if we didn't already have that money saved up to go to that purpose. So.
But the point is, no matter what your lifestyle is, there's going to be irregular expenses that come up throughout the year. And it's always good to do like an annual spending plan if you can. If you use YNAB, YNAB doesn't really give you that option. I do have an Excel spreadsheet also in the Etsy store that lets you budget out for a whole year at once. But that's great if you know, like, okay, come fall, I have to save for new winter tires on the car. Or, somebody's getting married in July, and so this is how much I think my, plane ticket and hotel is going to cost, or like whatever the case may be. Birthdays in these certain months, this is how much I want to pay. It kind of gives you like a good big picture bird's eye view of like what you need to spend throughout the year. Like Christmas is usually a big one for everybody. So if you save just a little bit every month throughout the year, come Christmas, you're not hit with like hundreds of dollars in credit card bills and stuff like that.
It's way easier to deal with $1,000 bill in December if you've been putting away $100 a month for the last 10 months than if you have nothing put away and December gets here and you're like, shit, let's max up the credit card.
So that's a big thing. We call those true expenses or sinking funds. So they're not like regular monthly bills, they're sporadic things, but they're true expenses. They're real life things that happen that we have to budget for.
Stuff that you know is coming that there's not like a consistent category for. Like Christmas doesn't happen every month. Yeah. Most people don't think about it till November, and by then they're pretty stressed about it.
The other thing that we always think people should be saving for is, yes, you should have at least $1,000 still for an emergency fund.
Yes, the emergency fund.
Aside from your sinking funds, because there still might be something, right? Like for us, we had $300 in the vehicle maintenance fund. But if something happened to the car's engine and we had to replace a big part that cost $600,
or the part cost $5. But, with shop time being what it is, it was still $1,000 bill.
Yeah, then that emergency fund is good to have. And so I think everybody should still aim to have that.
Yeah.
However, Cody and I are big believers that you should not stop at $1,000.
It is a good starting point, but we've gotten into a lot of trouble with revolving debt because we built our $1,000 emergency fund, put everything else to paying off debt, and then, I just got laid off. I've been laid off before. I got laid off unexpectedly. We only had that $1,000 in our emergency fund, and like a week later we were having to put stuff on the credit card because the emergency fund was gone.
It wouldn't even cover our rent, kind of thing. Now, to be fair, Cody's work is very sporadic. It's either really good or there's nothing, and we are a one-income household, so I no longer work. I'm a stay-at-home mom now. Your situation might be different. You might have very steady work. You might be on a salary. But I think if anything, the last 1.5 to 2 years has probably shown a lot of people that we get lulled into this false sense of security. Yeah. So even if you're in debt, I still think you should have at least 1 month of your living expenses set aside.
That'll give you so much breathing room, and it'll create so much freedom from stress. Stress reduction in your life, which is always a good thing. It's just you don't realize that pressure is on in the background until it comes off. Yeah. So that's definitely something that we are very vocal in suggesting that people do.
Yeah. And I remember when we were first starting to build our emergency fund, we didn't necessarily have a lot of wiggle room left in our budget every month, and most people don't. Like the idea of saving $1,000, let alone a month worth of your your living expenses, can feel really daunting.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I feel like being a little more intense about your saving is important. So you might consider things like you know, like at the time, I think we had sold an Xbox, we had sold a computer monitor, we had sold some furniture that we weren't using.
If you've been poking around the realm of personal finance for a while, you've probably heard the phrase gazelle intensity. Building your first emergency fund is definitely a good time to engage that sort of situation, because I saw this statistic the other day. The average North American household is an unexpected $400 expense away from complete disaster. So by having that $1,000 on hand, whether you have to fix an air conditioner, do something to the car, replace your bike if that's your main mode of transportation, having that security can really go a long way to ensuring financial prosperity in the future.
So I would look at doing, you know, selling stuff around your house, picking up a second part-time job, like whatever you need to do to try and get that money tucked away as quick as you can. And that's part of it. That's a big reason why we're doing the how to save and what to save for before we go into how to create your debt payoff plan. Because through our experience, it's so important to have that safety net there first. Because if you don't leave yourself enough of a safety net, you're going to wind up paying off all this debt. You're going to make progress. It's going to be awesome.
Something unexpected is going to happen. And then you got to rack up all that debt because the safety net isn't there. And I know for us too, I've been very reticent in the past to put extra money towards debt, because, you know, if at one point I owed $20,000 on my truck, and I had basically, I think I had $22,000 in savings. And it seems like the smart thing to do is empty the savings, pay off the truck, you streamline your monthly income, you no longer have that bill. But it just did not feel, I couldn't make myself get rid of that security net in order to have just a slightly smaller burn rate. And it ended up being a good thing for us, because things really took a dark turn for us at that point, and we burned through that money pretty quickly.
And we're literally seeing that right now. Like if you've been subscribed to the channel for a little bit, just about a month ago, we were considering cashing out all of our savings and emptying our emergency fund in favor of paying off our OPD, which is right now our biggest debt.
Which I would be so excited to have $700 less every month going to someone else.
The minimum payment is $700. So we're like, if we take out, you know, $4 or $5 grand, pay it off, free up $700 a month. We can so much more breathing room.
We can rebuild that pretty quickly. Except that I got laid off last week, and if that money was gone, we have no time to rebuild it and nothing to fall back on.
Exactly. And that's kind of why we held off on it. We knew baby was coming. We knew Cody might get laid off.
So having that security net beforehand definitely makes it a lot easier for you to then go hard on paying off debt.
If we had a whole month or two set aside for our living expenses, plus the extra $5 grand to pay off the OPD, for sure we would have done it.
Get rid of it. Just streamline the month. It's so much better that way.
But I think that's just the biggest message that we want to convey for this video is, like, make sure you prioritize your saving. You pay yourself first, no matter what. And then start thinking about what your true expenses are, the unexpected stuff that might come up throughout the year, and your emergency fund, and start to get that tied away. I know that's kind of against, like, the common advice given in the financial realm.
We've been doing this for a long time. At this point, we're pretty close to 7 years into trying to pay off our debt.
We've made a lot of mistakes.
We've tried every philosophical and methodology of personal finance out there, and this is the one that we've not only seen the most success with, but the one that feels the least stressful to do.
I think it's important to say too that, like, being on a debt-free journey and getting out of debt and finances in general is not a one-size-fits-all.
No.
You know, so, like, we're passionate about what we've learned and what we want to share with everybody else, but, like, you know, take it with a grain of rice, so to speak, just like you would anybody else. You need to figure out what works for you in your individual situation. Everybody's got a different story. Everybody's got a different background. There's people out there who can do gazelle intensity and get out of debt in a matter of months. And if you're one of those people, I think that's amazing. And you should do that.
And there's honestly some people that even if their situation is more of a marathon run, they're still going to sprint the whole way, because some people are just able to do that. You know, outside of the realm of personal finance, you look at someone like David Goggins. That guy loves to torture himself to do inhuman things. Like, that's not me. That's not my jam. But some people are like that. My jam is not to go scorched earth, beans and rice for 6 years to pay off my debt. I'd much rather do a slow and steady wins the race situation where, yeah, maybe mathematically it's not as good, but it's something that I can stick to for basically the rest of my life, which I think is more beneficial in the long run.
Yeah. I think it's more important to have a plan that's realistic for you, that you can follow through on, than have like a perfect plan that looks good on paper that you're going to constantly fall off the wagon with.
The perfect plan never used doesn't work.
That's right.
The actual perfect plan is the one that works for you that you can stick to.
And your plan doesn't have to look like anybody else's.
No.
Take inspiration, listen to advice, figure out what works for you, but your plan at the end of the day will be unique to you and your situation.
Yeah. Most likely you'll wind up like us where you have 5 or 6 influential sources of information and you kind of Frankenstein together your own system to try and make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, is that it?
That's it. That's all we wanted to
That's it, guys.
share.
So we hope you found some value here. We hope it was eye-opening or thought-provoking at the very least. But until the next one, if you like it, like it. If you don't like it, dislike it twice. That part is very important. Not once, twice. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.